Fire cider is a vinegar-based natural liquid that will keep you and your family healthy throughout the year. Technically, it's called an oxymel, which is a vinegar that has been infused with natural herbs, vegetables, and spices. There are several ways to use fire cider. You can rub it into sore muscles and aching joints. You can soak a clean cloth in fire cider and place it on a congested chest. You can use it as a salad dressing. You can drink it straight or diluted in a bit of water or tomato juice. Start out with a teaspoon or so to test your tolerance level, because this stuff can be kind of spicy. You can mix it with a bit of honey to ease a cough. Individual tolerance to the heat was going to vary, so you and your family will want to experiment with quantity. You may even want to take a little bit each day just to keep your immune system strong. First thing you need to do is dig out your recipe. Now, a word about recipes. You can stick with mine if you like, particularly the first year, but always feel free to modify as your knowledge base increases. The first ingredient is ginger root. Let's take a look at this. This is the root of a ginger plant. I am genuinely not sure exactly where it comes from, but I was able to buy it at Walmart in the bulk produce section. So grab some of that, and if you can't find the actual root, you could use ground ginger. That would work as well, but the actual root will pack a bit more punch. And then you need a grater. Ginger is valued for its ability to warm the stomach, to ease vomiting and nausea, and to fight off colds, chills, and coughs. Ginger is useful for all types of congestion in our bodies. You'll need garlic. Lots and lots of garlic for the atomic fire cider. I'm going to use this entire bag. Now, if you've grown your own, that will be superior. But you can also buy it from the grocery store, or even better yet, from a farmer's market. Garlic supports our immune system and opens our pores to our skin in order to lower fever. This herb's antibacterial and antimicrobial properties make it useful in treating bladder and kidney infections, yeast infections, strep throats, and also ear infections. You're going to need some hot pepper. Now, I'm a little afraid of hot peppers from the garden. I know, I'm a little chicken. So I buy mine in powdered form. As long as it's organic, you're okay. And maybe one of these years I'll get up enough nerve to grow my own hot peppers. Cayenne pepper is useful for increasing circulation and to get mucus flowing. This herb is an anti-inflammatory. It's also used as a digestive aid to stimulate gastric juices. Many people report relief from migraines with this herb as well. You're going to need raw local honey. This is extremely important. It must be raw, not pasteurized. The pasteurization process removes the natural healing properties of any honey. Also, local means within a 5-mile to 10-mile radius of your home. That means the bees have been gathering pollen from plants that are healthy and thriving in your atmosphere, breathing the same air and drinking the same rainwater that you do. So a local honey will actually prepare your immune system the best. Next up is horseradish. Now, if you can find actual horseradish root and grate it up, that's going to be better. I could not find any, so I bought 2 different kinds, and I'm going to throw both of these bottles in.
The antibacterial properties of horseradish have been used to fight bacteria. Horseradish strongly stimulates the digestion, increasing gastric secretions and appetite. It's also a good diuretic that promotes perspiration, making it useful in fevers, colds, and flu. Horseradish is also an expectorant and mildly antibiotic, and can be of use in both respiratory and urinary tract infections.
Okay, next, it would be great if we had the actual turmeric root like you see the picture here, but again, I could not source it locally, so I ended up buying the organic USDA organic Simply Nature. I got this, I believe, at Walmart. It was about $5. Ground turmeric is the next ingredient.
Turmeric's uses include the treatment of liver disease, skin problems, respiratory and gastrointestinal ailments, sprained muscles, joint pains, and general wound healing. It actually exhibits over 150 potentially therapeutic activities, including anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial activity, as well as potent anti-cancer properties that have been intensely studied. You may want to research this on your own a bit further.
Next up are onions. Look at the size of this one. Woo! Isn't that beautiful? That came from our local farmer's market, and these little babies came from my garden. Again, I recommend local. If you have to, buy it in a grocery store, but if you can hit up a farmer's market or grow them yourself, you're going to get much more powerhouse.
Onions contain powerful antioxidant compounds like vitamin E. Onions also contain a virus and bacteria killing nutrient called allicin. Quercetin, also found in onions, helps the body remove inflammation and therefore makes onions great for folks with rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, as well as folks with just general joint pain. The sulfur compounds in onions work to increase insulin production and therefore lower glucose levels. This makes them great for type 1 and type 2 diabetes. The antioxidants in onions work to thin blood and ward off blood clots, lower blood pressure, prevent arterial hardening, and also prevent gallstones. Raw onions are best at these properties. Onions also contain vitamin C, vitamin B6, potassium, folate, B vitamin, dietary fiber, calcium, and iron. Onions and honey can be combined to make cough syrup, and a fresh slice of onion applied to a bee or a wasp sting will break down the compounds found in the venom and will promote lesser pain and quicker healing. In short, onions are a superfood that most definitely belong in our fire cider tonic. Next up is cinnamon. You can use ground cinnamon or cinnamon sticks. Both will work just fine. Cinnamon has been used since 2000 BC in ancient Egypt. It's been used to treat sore throats, arthritis, fungal infections, high blood sugar levels, digestive issues, diabetes, loss of appetite, bronchitis, and may prevent Alzheimer's disease, HIV, and multiple sclerosis. Cinnamon has been tested to help the body reduce negative responses to eating high-fat meals, to kill bacterial biofilms, and actively promote healing in chronic wounds. The next ingredient is lemons. If you can get organic lemons that have never been sprayed with pesticides, use them. If not, just be sure to discard the peels. Evidence-based studies have shown that lemons contain a high amount of vitamin C, soluble fiber, and plant compounds that may aid in weight loss and reduce heart disease, as well as treat anemia, kidney stones, digestive issues, and cancer. The next ingredient, if you can find it and dry it out, is mullein. This is a natural healing plant for the lungs. It grows all over the place. I've seen it along highways. I've seen it at the edge of forests. I have even seen it in the city growing between the cracks on sidewalks. If you can find a clean sample of mullein, gently slip off the tender, velvety leaves, cut them off, bring them home, dry them out, and throw them in your atomic fire cider. Next up is salt. Use a good quality mineral-included salt like sea salt or Himalayan salt. My recommendation is this company, Real Salt. They're out of Utah in the United States, and it's just fantastic stuff. It's the only stuff I use now. This is where you get creative with your dry ingredients. Take a look in your cupboard and add in whatever you know to be healthful for your family. I've included in this particular atomic fire cider oregano, ground mustard. I also used mustard seed, cinnamon sticks, thyme leaves, whole cloves, rosemary, and whole black peppercorns. The final ingredient and the most important ingredient is raw apple cider vinegar with the mother. Most of the other ingredients included in this recipe are optional, but you must have raw apple cider vinegar, unpasteurized, with the mother included in it as your base in which to absorb all the healthful nutrients and enzymes from the plant material. I make my own, and if you're interested in learning how to do that, look for my Making Apple Cider Vinegar in the City video. Otherwise, get yourself to the grocery store and look for the words raw apple cider vinegar with the mother. The most famous brand out there is called Bragg's. But I've also seen a company called White House, and I'm sure there are many, many more. You're looking for raw with the mother.
Okay, let's begin. Start with a stainless steel or enamel 3-gallon pot. I use a wooden spoon too. First thing I do is throw the mullein in. Ooh, I love that there mullein. Next up is the lemons. Mine were not organic, so I had to cut off the skins, but I used them in another project to make a kitchen spritzer. You can check that up on my videos. So then I went ahead and I cut those lemons into nice little slices for lots of surface area inside of our tonic. Here we see the lemons being added to the mullein. Next is the ginger. Now you guys be careful out there. When you're using this hand grater, you take that ginger root in your hand, you start using the grater and it start coming off and it's fun, and before you know it, you build up speed, and then doggone it, if you're not careful, you are grating your knuckles off.
Whew. So there we see the ground ginger has been added to the lemons and the mullein, and the mixture's getting better. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And up comes the onions. Oh, those onions, that's super, super food. It's the greatest thing in the world. Oh, look how pretty that is. Look, 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 look. Onions, I love onions, but they do this to me. And if they didn't do this to me, I would know there was something wrong with that there onion. You should be a crying, snotty, driveling mess, but nevertheless happy. Here they are. The onions are now added into the pot. Ooh, the witch's brew is getting better and better. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Next up is the horseradish. We're going to use both kinds, and we're just going to throw that all in there to get those digestive juices moving. Up next is the raw natural honey. Oh my God, it's so sweet. And then we come to the pièce de résistance, the garlic. I put a great deal of garlic in this atomic cider. I got 3 bags of garlic given to me, and I needed to use them. Each batch contains a whole bag of garlics. Now, you can't just throw those cloves in. You have to pulverize them. You have to crush them. You have to get that garlic oil out. How do you do it? I use a nice cloth bag. You could also use a pillowcase. Throw those cloves in, get out your hammer, and smash, 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 smash. There'll be garlic oil all over the place. Your kitchen will smell great. And then you get to throw all those pulverized and semi-pulverized pieces on top of the onions and the lemons and the mullein. Next, you add all the rest of those wonderful seasonings that you have selected from your cupboard to be healthful. Then we put in the last and most important ingredient, the mother, the vinegar, the raw vinegar with the mother. I happen to put in 2 full gallons. Then we must cover the pot with a clean cloth secured with either a rubber band or a pantyhose tie or some string, and make sure you put the date 4 weeks hence when it will be opened. Let it brew for 4 weeks. Bippity boppity boo! Woo! It's 4 weeks later and it's almost time to unveil. But first, we have to put together our bottling materials. We will need another pot. We will need our Foley's food mill to strain out the solids. We will need clean bottles. We will need a funnel. We will need a scooper. And we will need a damp and a dry cloth. Are you ready? It's time to unveil, and woo! Look at that. Gorgeous nutrition, health in a bucket, 2 gallons of Mother Nature's very, very sharpest and best tools. Woo! Now, it's time to strain out the solids. I used my grandmother's Foley's food mill, as you can see here, but any strainer or colander would do. You just want to make sure you're getting as much squeezed out of the solids as possible. And you also want to remember to compost those solids. Put everything right back into the earth and into the cycle of food. Whenever you put something into your compost bucket that's wet, it's got to be covered with something that's dry. So I use my shredded paper because in the city, that's what I have the most of. Finally, the finished product. All you see is a few little mustard seeds and some pepper flakes floating around on the surface, and she is ready to go in the bottles for yearly health. Yes, our funnel, our clean bottles. There you have it. The rags will absorb any moisture that falls and wipe down the bottles when they're filled. Remember to label as soon as everything is clean and bottled with what it is and the date that it was made.